Today, I was compelled to sit down and write this letter, not to anyone in particular, maybe even just for myself, but as a Black female executive at the Trump Organization, I can no longer remain silent about the repeated and reprehensible attempts to align my boss and his family with racist hate-mongering groups, campaigns, and messaging. As the daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, who rose against all odds to become one of the most established and respected doctors at Yale University, there is no amount of money in the world that could buy my loyalty to a family that subscribed to such intolerant and bigoted ideologies. The Trump family that I know is, without question, one of the most generous, compassionate, and philanthropic families I've ever had the privilege of knowing and the honor to call friends. They have been incredibly loyal to me and to the countless dedicated people they employ around the world, hiring more minority and female executives than any other company for which I've ever worked. To equate racism with my boss's call for a temporary moratorium on a flawed immigration system that radical Islamic terrorists continue to exploit, or the construction of an impassable wall to protect our borders from the influx of illegal drugs, is not only incendiary, it's wholly irresponsible and only serves to embolden the very hatred these draconian groups espouse. What common-sense American wants another terrorist attack on our soil, or to perpetuate this country's rampant drug epidemic? But to compare my boss to Adolf Hitler, simply to spin your own political agenda or social media punchline, is a personal affront to the extermination of over 6 million Jews and trivializes one of the worst acts of human genocide this world has ever seen. Rest assured, I am a highly intelligent, free-thinking, and independent woman. My opinions and decisions are based solely in fact, not fiction, speculation, assumption, or hearsay. I do not vote based upon the color of my skin, nor the signature on my paycheck. I judge my friends and forge my allegiances from direct personal interaction and moral character. That said, there is no higher barometer by which to measure oneself than the one continually set by this family and their spouses, and I should know. Like many Americans, I have struggled with substance abuse and addiction. The Trump family has stood by me through immensely difficult times without hesitation or concern for their own reputation by association. They continue to trust me with every aspect of their lives and the lives of their families. They invite me into their homes and welcome me at their family gatherings. For the past 6 years, I have held an executive position as it pertains to the distribution of their charitable funds, and they have charged me to identify worthy and altruistic missions. I could not be more humbled. This is the Trump family that I know. Only up until now, it's all just been opposing campaign rhetoric and paid protesters. But then, a letter came. And I thought to myself, who does this person think he is to threaten to kill somebody else's family? Any family. This family. My family. All because of a political race, a campaign. But then I realized that this isn't just a race to Mr. Trump. This isn't just a race to his family, nor to our veterans or the unemployed. And because of that, this family is willing to risk their own lives each and every day for the greater good of this country. But I would be lying if I said I didn't fear for them now. There is a movement sweeping this brave nation, and I am honored to have a front row seat to it on a daily basis. This country has spoken. My boss has justly earned the Republican nomination and broken voter registration records in countless states across America. This cannot be denied. He has brought this party together by drawing more Democrats, more independents, and more first-time voters into the GOP fold, and has earned more Republican votes than any other presidential candidate in modern history. That must be respected. To the skeptics who will undoubtedly claim that I'm doing this at the behest of the Trump family or with the promise of reward, I deliberately chose not to seek their approval nor counsel in advance of this video for fear that they would be more concerned for me and its potential viral ramifications than they would be for themselves, and the fact that, quite simply, this is the right thing to do. For me, it was an easy decision, just as voting for my boss, Donald J. Trump, should be an easy decision for you. God bless this family, God bless the voters, and God bless the United States of America.
star-studded face-off. First, let's start with Donald Trump.
A brilliant, charismatic, totally self-made billionaire who I believe will one day run this country.
Oh, Donald Trump. You and the dog
Yes.
were very close. I won Celebrity Apprentice.
Yes, you did.
I was the first black person to win, so I'm like the Jackie Robinson.
Donald always says money can't buy happiness.
He's always been a favorite of celebrities. Every single prominent person in the world, young and old, has hobnobbed with Donald Trump at some point in their life. Take a look. That includes presidents, actors, comedians.
I just crunched for President Trump.
Donald Trump took care of Jennifer Hudson's whole family after they experienced a tragedy. Now, for anyone who's ever called Donald Trump racist, he spent time with Rosa Parks winning the Ellis Island Award. How many racists have ever done that?
We know that, right?
Nah, he's a terrific guy. We love him, and I'm here for him.
People of note, talk show host.
He wasn't the only person who took a special interest in you. There was somebody else who saw it, and he's a very famous person, and he wanted to give you a present too. So watch this in the monitor. I don't know if you know who he is.
Hi, Megan. My name's Donald, and you probably don't know me, but I was watching Maury's show the other day, and I must tell you, you really hit me right here. I think you are so beautiful, and both inside and out. I had a little something, a little gift that I gave to Maury, who's a friend of mine, and a very good golfer. Don't ever play him in golf. He's very, very good, believe me. And I gave him a little gift for you, and I hope you and your mother have a good time with it. And you're very special, and you just keep it up and keep up that attitude. So good luck, and you stay in touch.
So, Donald Trump, he has his name on more buildings in New York City than any other person. And besides that, he is one of the most generous people I know. And he wants you and your mom to have a very special check. And when we talk about Donald Trump, when he gives out checks, we're not talking chump change here. So, look at that. You know how much that's for? You get all those zeros right?
Singers love Donald Trump.
Even Homer Simpson rode the escalator behind Trump.
But nobody loved Donald Trump more than rappers.
A lot of people are calling me about the Mac Miller rap song.
Yo, Ice, I did a concert in the White House, and after that, me and Donald Trump hung out.
People's going off like Donald Trump gets checked.
Talking Donald Trump.
Bill Gates, Donald Trump, let me in. Donald Trump is y'all.
Resurrection of the real time to get richer than Trump.
But I take over the world when I'm on my Donald Trump. I'm fighting my blood like Donald Trump. I'm holding a golf course on Donald Trump.
The Donald Trump song just hit over 20 million. That's not so bad. I'm very proud of that.
Almost every prominent rapper has applauded Donald Trump at some point in their songs. Oh, except for Nipsey Hussle, who had this to say.
Oh, you build walls, we gonna probably dig holes, and if your ass do win, you gonna probably get smoked.
Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump.
After a lifetime of spreading hate, it looks like his life of crime, which he was trying to turn around, actually caught back up with him. Which is why you don't get involved in gang activity, drug dealing, and talking shit in the first place. Now, if Donald Trump was a fascist, he would have killed Nipsey Hussle himself, but he didn't. And who was he killed by? Not by Donald Trump, a fellow gang member from the BLM community. You know the one candidate who actually wanted to help Nipsey get out of that life of crime?
Donald Trump.
If you're the kind of person to be influenced by celebrities, why not pick the biggest and baddest of them all? World champion level fighters from boxing and the UFC.
I think the Democrats are making a horrible mistake by putting in he just had another huge stumble yesterday. The man is ill. I wish him no ill will. I'm not a Biden hater.
Jimmy Kimmel pretends to hate Donald Trump now for his career, but this is how he felt about him before Trump was president.
Well, I've ghostwritten a book that I put your name on, okay? And it's called Winners Aren't Losers. The dog is a loser, and frankly, I pity it. This dog did bad deals. This dog is an idiot. Two kinds of people. Which one will you be? A loser like them? Would you like to finish? Or a winner
like me.
Donald Trump, everybody. Thanks for coming. We'll be right back with music from Gary Clark Jr.
And of course, Jimmy Fallon had to apologize 1,000 times for getting along with Donald Trump right before election. Check it out.
The next time I see you, you could be the president of the United States. I just wanted to know if there's something we could do that's just not presidential, really, or something that we can do now that we're just both civilians. Like
what? This is. I'm not liking the sound of this. Go ahead.
Can I mess your hair up?
I don't think so. I've talked to a number of black entrepreneurs who back in the late 80s and 90s, early 90s, were trying to get financing. They couldn't. Somebody told them to go check with Donald Trump. So they come back and tell me they got a loan from Donald Trump. He gave them a term loan. Show up with the interest and the principal, one check. But they had to go see him personally. They independently relate this tale that when they saw him, he said, "This what you supposed to pay me? This our agreement?" I said, "Yeah." And then tore the check up, shook their hands, and congratulations. Now run your business.
And this was when?
This was back in the 90s. See, most people don't even know this. He had a sister. He was, every time you saw him back in the 90s, fine, paper bag, brown, beautiful black model. He likes fine women. He didn't have any problem with dating a black woman, walking her down red carpets. So, I mean, she says he's not a racist. He just doesn't like many people, black or white. And he appreciates people who do stuff within their lane.
I now want to bring forth a friend who has, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness and his commitment, but his success is beyond argument. When we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, he gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. And beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of building for the builder of people. Last year, he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so this, a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
I will tell you, a large percentage of the people, and especially in construction, that are building these great jobs are black and minorities, and I'm very proud of it. We have close to 25%, and I think the number's going up, and they do a great job. There are no better builders than we have in New York, and a big percentage of that is black and minority folks. So I just want to thank everybody in the room for being here. I look forward to some questions. And then I don't know how we're ever going to leave this building today, because if you look outside, it is terrible. But we'll figure a way. There's always a way. And thank you, Jesse, and congratulations.
She was like, Donald Trump, he's racist. So I was like,
mean he's racist? Who said he's racist? Talking about, they say it on the news.
There you go.
So I had to break down to her, first off, does she know Jennifer Hudson? I had to ask her, do you know Jennifer Hudson? She was like, well, yes, I know Jennifer Hudson. I said, did you know that Donald Trump is the one that gave her a place to stay in his tower with security, rent-free, while she went through that tragedy that happened in her family a few years ago? She looked like, huh? I said, it was Donald Trump that did that, boo.
Very little slack.
This black homeless woman has just gone viral. The liberals were wrong again. The liberal media has claimed Donald Trump is a racist, a sexist, and a bigot, but his actions continue to prove them wrong. Testimony from a homeless black woman in New York who Trump allowed to live in his tower, tent-free, has shattered that divisive narrative.
Hi, everybody. I am a squatter in Donald Trump's building, Trump Tower, in New York City. As you can see, I'm in my pajamas. There's Central Park right there. And that tall building is the S6 house on Central Park West, near 59th Street. I came in here about 9 years ago and snuck in the building and just started occupying one of the empty rooms in here. By the time our housekeeper noticed I was here the next day, she called the manager and they called the New York City police. Who came up here and told me I had to leave or I would be arrested. When I told them I would not go, they contacted Mr. Trump over the phone, and he came down here. Instead of him evicting me off the property, he said that I can stay. And it's been 8 years I've been here. Not only did he not evict me off the property, he made sure that I get 3 meals a day by room service, and that I get a delivery of fresh flowers every week. So you people, not a bad guy at all. If it weren't for him, I'd be homeless, I'd be dead right now. I'd be in the street. I asked him, how am I going to pay him back for all of this? And he told me I can pay him back whenever I get, which is never. I have no idea why he did this for me. It's been 9 years. And I've been here for totally free, and I haven't paid a dime. Donald Trump is not a bad guy. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. And everything I'm telling you today is true. Goodbye.
The mainstream media cuts President Trump very little slack and goes out of their way to cover up his many accomplishments since he's been in office. But it goes back much further than that. For decades, Donald Trump has been quietly helping Americans from all backgrounds, without any praise or credit from the media. As it turns out, the businessman turned president has a long history of random acts of kindness. For example, the president is a champion of women's rights, and going all the way back to 1980, Trump hired Barbara Rez to be the head of construction for his organization. She was just one of many women Trump promoted into prominent positions in construction at a time when the industry was dominated by men, with Trump even saying that a good woman is better than 10 good men. As a result, Barbara says she may have been the first woman in U.S. history to build a skyscraper. A few years later, in 1988, a Jewish family were desperate to find help for their critically ill son, who was just 3 years old and needed a flight from Los Angeles to New York for emergency treatment. But all the commercial airlines refused to fly their son because he needed to travel with several large pieces of medical equipment. Running out of hope, the family reached out to Donald Trump, who they said didn't even hesitate and agreed to have his private jet fly the family and their sick son to New York for treatment. The boy's father said, quote, "Donald Trump is a miracle, just a miracle." In 1991, witnesses say that while Trump was riding in his limo, he spotted a man being brutally attacked by a mugger with a baseball bat. Trump ordered the limo to pull over and jumped out of the car, shouting at the man to drop the bat, who, according to witnesses, then fled the scene. In 2008, singer and actress Jennifer Hudson's mother, brother, and nephew were all murdered at their home in Chicago. In another unexpected gesture of kindness, Trump reached out to the grief-stricken Hudson and offered to house her and her relatives at Trump Tower in Chicago for free. At the time, People magazine praised Trump for his, quote, heart of gold, with Trump saying he just wanted to help protect her and her family. A few years later, in 2013, bus driver Darnell Barton stopped to help a woman who he thought looked like she was about ready to jump off a bridge. Donald Trump heard about the story and sent Barton a $10,000 check for his good deed, saying, quote, "Your quick thinking resulted in a life being saved, and for that, you should be rewarded." The next year, in 2014, U.S. Marine Corps Sergeant Andrew Timorisi was arrested in Mexico and held for 7 months after he accidentally brought firearms across the border. Trump followed the case, and when Andrew was finally released and returned to the United States, Trump reached out and sent him a check for $25,000, thanking him for his service and bravery. But that's not the first or last time Donald Trump stood up to help America's veterans. In 2015, then presidential hopeful Trump stepped in to help Army veteran Todd Landon, who was critically wounded in an IED attack in Iraq back in 2006. Trump was holding a rally in Iowa and came down off the stage to speak with Landon, who told him about all the problems he was having getting proper care with the VA, which he said was rife with problems. Trump vowed to help Landon out, intervened with the VA on his behalf, and the very next day, Landon said the VA contacted him and shortly after approved compensation payments for his injuries. Trump took it a step further after he was elected president, and reversing nearly a decade of neglect from Obama, Trump forgave the student debts of nearly 50,000 permanently disabled veterans. In 2017, President Trump heard that the family of Army Corporal Dylan Baldridge was struggling after their son was killed in Afghanistan. Vowing his support for the family, President Trump personally sent them a check for $25,000 and instructed his staff to create an online fundraising page to help the family out. These are the stories the mainstream media doesn't want you to know about. And they're just a few of the many examples over the years of when President Trump took a stand and helped people who, in many cases, had nowhere else to turn. No one expected Trump to help. It's not mentioned in any of his campaign promotions, and he never makes any big speeches about it. He just did the right thing